नमस्सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य आरभ्य किञ्चित् मुण्डक उपनिषदः चर्चां करवामः। So now, for the sake of both Samskrita and English audience, I will try to play between both these paradigms of conveying a certain meaning in Samskrita and then trying to translate it to English. And sometimes I mean, my meanings are better understood in English, and so I will try to convey the essence back in Samskrita. Uh, Now, the format of this class, of this session rather, would be in the form of a dialogue. As you have all been seeing the other discussion sessions happen online, and these sessions will happen at 6 o'clock IST. And hopefully, all of you have joined the group for more updates about it. I'll like to keep this a two-way street. So all of you, please ensure that you pitch in your own views, your interpretations, and you bring in your own perspectives about each and every mantra that we are studying. The idea here, the objective, the uddeshya here is to have at least an academic understanding. Hopefully, also by including a 10-minute meditation session, which I plan to do, we will also try to understand and visualize the meanings in ourselves. So, for both academic and experiential purposes, I feel you may find some benefit here, and therefore you must attend these sessions. Please keep it a dialogue. Don't make it into a monologue. So it's on you. The onus is on you. Uh, Now, the privilege of teaching, or rather talking about this great subject, is definitely mine, and I'm really grateful for this. My own Veda Guru, I must first thank at the outset, who has imparted this knowledge to me. And secondly, to, of course, the great traditions of Advaita, beginning from right from Adi Shankaracharya onwards, and also to Swami Chinmayananda's wonderful commentaries, which I had the good chance of reading a couple of years ago. Anyhow, so we will try to keep this discussion in a way where it both facilitates our own understanding and helps us take a novel look at the shlokas. In fact, being a novice at times is actually a greater opportunity for insight and intuition than having already learned through scholarly and technical terms. So I find that aptly very useful. And so I invite all of you here who perhaps have already read it, or some of you who are yet to read this and looking at this for the first time, I in fact welcome all your fresh perspectives on the mantras. So at any point, yes, one strict rule is please keep your videos off, but at any point, please unmute yourself and speak up and uh, steer the direction towards your opinion. Okay, let's not digress too much, but anything related to the subject or any practical experience you have felt or you can correlate the mantra's meaning to would be absolutely appreciated. Having given so much disclaimers and preface, let's quickly begin with the mantras themselves. First, a quick round of introduction. My name is Sudarshan, and I'm a seeker, and I'm also an enthusiast of Samskrita and of Vedas, and I love to read about Vedanta much. Let's quickly go over these introductions. Whoever is willing here can volunteer. By the way, are my videos and audios visible and audible? Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the subject matter today, which is the Mundaka Upanishad. The Mundaka Upanishad uh, is an Upanishad, as the name itself suggests. It's an Upanishad, one of the classical 10 Upanishads. One of the classical 10 Upanishads. And by classical, we mean those which were first commented upon by Adi Shankaracharya and which was already by his time quite popular and which have by authorship as well as by date, been considered to be one of the most authentic Upanishads there is. So now we are looking at the word Upanishad. Upanishad, there are two upasargas here, two prefixes, and then there is the dhatu. So it means to, what is upa? Does anybody know what is upa? Near. Near. Or lesser. Near or lesser. So here it is, we'll take the meaning of Samipa. Ni is down. Down. Below. Down below. Nichaha. And Shad is to sit. To sit. Perfect. So the literal meaning of the word Upanishad literally means to sit down closer, to sit down near. So here the that is one literal meaning. The other meaning, of course, which Adi Shankaracharya says is here Shad refers to of course Upa means to approach. Ni is the connector, which I'll come to in a moment, and Upa and Shad is he translates this as Sat, which is the truth. And because there is ni there, because of some grammar rules, the sa becomes sha. Anyhow, upa is inching closer and closer to the truth while the ego is put down. This is how he defines Upanishad to be, his interpretation of the Upanishad, of the word Upanishad. Upa, as one inches closer and closer to the truth, the ego is necessarily put down. It's made to sit down while one approaches it. The other meaning is there is some kind of a laya. The ni here refers to the laya of the identity as one moves closer and closer to the truth. Somewhat similar. We already have started off with some really hardcore philosophy, some hardcore spirituality rather. And that is the essence which is conveyed through across all the 10 Upanishads which he has commented upon. And as we shall see for ourselves in this little journey of ours. The Mundaka, the word Mundaka then refers to, anybody knows what is Mundaka? I think it's a sannyasi, right? Correct. A sannyasi is exactly called as a Mundaka or a Munda sannyasi because they used to shave their heads. Munda literally means balded or shaved. So those who had shaved heads were usually the sannyasis, and so they were called as the Mundaka. And an interesting etymology again here is that the word sannyasi, though of course it refers to the classical people, the most well-known people who would shave their heads, is also referring to the state of baldedness, Mundaka. The Upanishad which causes us to go bald is called the Mundaka Upanishad. So where hair is seemingly that part of ourselves which is there on us to beautify us, but when necessary or when we just tie them up, right? We would have seen in these Japanese animes too. I think perhaps many of you can relate to this. We have seen that they wear a band over their head to stop the hair from coming out, coming in the front, as a sign of determination. And we also do that, right? When we are wrestling or something, we tie our hairs back. And Kautilya also tied his hair, and so on and so forth. So all of this is to show how the hair, which is actually a dead organ, if we just keep it on ourselves, and when it is needed, we will actually even be willing to shave it off or curtail it. So this Upanishad is one thing which will make us go bald in our egos. So this is one other interesting etymology. And the Mundaka Upanishad is often associated with the Samaveda. It is often associated with the Samaveda. Sorry, rather, I'm very sorry. It's from the Atharva Veda. From the Atharva Veda. This and the Mandukya, it's twin. They all come from the Atharva Veda portions of the Upanishad. So every Veda has four sections: the Samhita, the Brahmana, the Aranyaka, and the Upanishad. Sometimes the boundary between Aranyaka and Upanishad is not very clear. They merge into one. And the Samhita portions are pretty clear, where it is talking about either rituals or gods or hymns about gods. And Brahmanas are the portions where they're talking about the ancillary items required for the yajna or any other information relating to the pertaining to the yajnas and such. Aranyakas and Upanishads are the more enigmatic portions of the Vedas, which talk about more philosophical segments. So, hence, aptly called as the Jnana Kanda, and this as the Karma Kanda. So, there, where action is primary, it is called as the Karma Kanda, and where just sitting back and analyzing and introspecting is the priority, there it is the Jnana Kanda. So, of course, this Mundaka Upanishad comes in the Jnana Kanda portion of it. This Upanishad has, as you can see in the contents, it has three adhyayas and many sub adhyayas, which are called as khandas. And this is one of the Upanishads which is often quoted, and the very word, the very phrase, um, Satyameva Jayate, which we just saw, is also from this very Upanishad itself. And the often used mantra, Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha, etc., is also again taken from this Upanishad. The very esoteric story of two birds sitting on a perch while one looks and one is eating something else is also again, it occurs in this Upanishad too. Okay, so we will quickly begin with the Upanishad. We will not be chanting it in the way as per the Vedic style of chanting it, but we shall just go through the mantras, and then towards the end of our class, I shall play a video in which time you will actually hear the Vedic recital of this Upanishad, and we will also close our eyes and then go through and absorb the meaning, whatever we have learned in the class in those 10 minutes. Does that sound good? Is everybody on board?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. At any point, if either my audio or video are not displayed, please let me know either on the group or by unmuting yourself. Okay, let's quickly start. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. ॐ ब्रह्मादेवानां प्रथमः सम्बभूव विश्वस्य कर्ता भुवनस्य गोप्ता स ब्रह्मविद्यां सर्वविद्याप्रतिष्ठामथर्वाय ज्येष्ठपुत्राय प्राह ब्रह्मादेवानां प्रथमः सम्बभूव विश्वस्य कर्ता भुवनस्य गोप्ता स ब्रह्मविद्यां सर्वविद्याप्रतिष्ठाम् अथर्वाय ज्येष्ठपुत्राय प्राह. And we have with us for a good fortune Trivikrama Varya with us, so he can help us break down the words and then we'll analyze the meanings.
ब्रह्मा देव देवानां ब्रह्मा प्रथमः सम्बभूव. Brahma occurred first out of all the devatas. He is the Vishwasya Karta, Bhuvanasya Gupta. He is the maker of the universe as well as the protector of it. So Brahma Vidya, he came or Praha Vasishtam Aha ituva.
Yes.
He said or he told the Brahma Vidya to his eldest son, whose name is Atharva.
What did he tell?
Sarva Vidya Pratishtha. The Brahma Vidya is the thing in which all Vidyas are there. Sarva Vidya Pratishtha.
Sadhu, sadhu. Exactly. So Brahma, the Prathama, the Devanam Prathamaha, first of the Devas, Sambhabhuva, he was first born, who became the Vishwasya Karta, and then he created the world, and then he also protected the world. Gopta, Saha, and then he had many children, out of whom the eldest one was by name Atharva, and to whom he bestowed the Brahma Vidya, which is the foundation of every other Vidya which is possible. Perfect. Dhanyavadaha. Does anybody have a question with the literal meaning so far, or any other take? So now you see how the Upanishad quickly begins. It just gets into the topic of Brahma Vidya, and it is first starting with the history of the topic, right? So how did science evolve? You first say, talk about how we talk about Euclidean geometry, and then some alchemy and so on and so forth, and then you start actually getting into science in our textbooks. Similarly, the Upanishad is tracing back where this Brahma Vidya first came from. What is the history? To whom was it told? And who gave this to I mean, in the first instance, it is tracing it back. So it comes from Brahma himself. Any other ideas that you want to talk about here before we move on to the commentary?
I have never heard of this, the first son of Brahma being Atharva.
So the uh, Atharva is also a name for Surya. So it could very well have just meant Surya himself. But because Vivaswan is also born from Brahma, and oftentimes they are equated synonymously. The sun and Brahma are many a times equated, because we also say Savita, the Srishtikarta is just as Vishwasya Karta, and so on. But yes, at times Surya is also said to be the son of Brahma, the Hiranyagarbha. And the other name for it of Surya is also Atharva, but I understand because this is from the Atharva Veda. There are the two clans called as the Angiras and the Atharvans. And when they talk about their Upanishads or their Vamsha, the Rishi Vamshas, they trace it back to Atharva, the first person, the first Rishi. And yeah, I'm not sure of it either. Anybody else knows about this?
I wanted to know about the praha. Praha is pra plus aha. Is that right?
Satyam, yes. Pra aha. Aha means said. Pra aha means said well, or explained, expounded. Let's see if Shankaracharya has some more ideas. The word Brahma means much grown or great, as excelling all others in virtue, knowledge, freedom from desires and power. The word Devana means Indra and the others, of those who possess enlightenment. Deva. The word Prathama means preeminent by attributes or at first. Sambhabhuva means he became manifest well. That is of free choice, not like mortals who are born in samsara, but as a consequence of their own choice. He who is beyond the reach of the senses and cannot be grasped, etc., is what they refer to as Brahma. Vishwasya means meaning of the whole universe, Karta, the creator. Bhuvanasya, same of the world. Gopta is the protector. Brahma's greatness is thus celebrated. Brahma Vidya, which is the knowledge of the Brahman or of Paramatma here, uh, by which one knows the undecaying and the true Purusha. That knowledge is of the Paramatma, may mean the knowledge taught by Brahma, the firstborn. So there is a distinction here. Brahma Vidya could very well have just meant the Vidya which Brahma has. But here he is drawing a distinction and saying, no, this is the Brahma Vidya, which wherein very peculiarly in Sanskrita we use the same word but in different gender to refer to two different things. Both the declensions are the same. Brahman, when used in neuter gender, means the supreme, while used in the Pullinga form, refers to the Prajapalaka or Prajapati or Hiranyagarbha or the creator Brahma, the very specific act of creation. So that is the Brahma which is first born. And so its declension ends with Brahma Devanam. Whereas the Vidya which concerns the actual, the supreme entity or the supreme reality is in neuter and it is oftentimes just written as Brahma. Notice the Dirgha and the absence of it therein. Sarva Vidya Pratishtham, that which on which all other knowledge rests. And here, in most cases, throughout the Upanishads, the word knowledge is not to be taken as information or some intellectual thought. But knowledge here, when they say jnana or vidya, it refers to understanding, not using the intellect, but understanding through intuition, understanding through experience itself. So every other experience, every other awareness itself rests on this Brahma Vidya. Because there is only this one entity which is the Brahma, which is recognized or cognized by all other knowledge. And this is what the Shruti says. We will go into the rest of this a little later. He taught this knowledge to his eldest son, that is Atharva, who was created at the beginning of time. He was one among the numerous creations of Brahma, and it is said to be his eldest son. He doesn't give any backstory to who this Atharva is. Okay, are you all happy? Shall we move ahead? This is just the introduction.
Yes.
अस्तु अथर्वणेयां प्रवदेत ब्रह्माथर्वातां पुरोवाचाङ्गिरे ब्रह्मविद्यां स भारद्वाजाय सत्यवहाय प्राह भारद्वाजोऽङ्गिरसे परावराम् अथर्वण सन्धि विच्छेदं करोतु
अथर्वणे याम् अवदेत ब्रह्माथर्व ब्रह्मा अथर्व तं पुरः वाचः
पुरा उवाच
उवाच क्षम्यतां स उवाच अङ्गिरे
अङ्गिरे
ब्रह्मविद्याम्
हम्म,
स भारद्वाजाय सत्यवाहाय प्राह भारद्वाजः अङ्गिरसे परावराम्
हम्म,
पर अवरां वा
हम्म। अत्र समस्तपदमस्ति इट्स् अ काम्पौण्ड् वर्ड् परावरां परावरां ब्रह्मविद्याम् अथर्वणे यां प्रवदेत ब्रह्मा. So now they are just tracing back the lineage. So first Brahma told this to whom?
अथर्व
Atharva. And then whatever was told to Atharva, Atharvane yam pravadeta Brahma. Then what did Atharva do? Atharva tam pura angire Brahma vidyam uvacha. And then Atharva told it to Angira. Angir is his name. Angir. That is why the fourth Upanishad is sometimes also called as Atharvangirasaha. Atharvangirasah Pucham Pratishtha. So says the Taittiriya Upanishad, right? So the two first, you could say the founding fathers or the principal rishis of this Veda were Atharva and Angira. So Atharvangira. Okay, then who did Angira tell it to?
भारद्वाज
He told it to the Bharadwaja Muni. Then Bharadwaja.
सत्यवाह
No, Bharadwaja is a, I mean, Satyavaha is an adjective for Bharadwaja. So he who carries with him Satya is Satyavaha. There's a typo here. It's Satyavahaya, no? It's Satyavahaya. Satyavahaya Praha. Satyavahaya Bharadwajaya Praha. Then Bharadwajaha told it to Angirase. Then there is another Rishi by the name Angiras. Angiras different and Angiras is different. So now Angiras has finally been the latest mm, Rishi so far in this lineage, in the first two shlokas, who has the Brahma Vidya with him. What is this Brahma Vidya? This is Paravaram. Does anybody know what is Paravaram? Please speak up.
Parasya avaram.
Hmm? पुनः वदतु.
Parasya avaram. Paravaram.
Parasya avaram.
Harinam avaram.
Interesting. Okay, so you're saying Parasya avaram. So she's saying Para refers to the supreme is called Para. Yes, and Avara is something which is a little lesser than it. So she is saying Parasya avaram, that which is second in command after the supreme is what she is interpreting Paravaram to be. Okay, that's good. Any other interpretations? My reading of this is uh, para, avara, it means one after another. So it's like a parampara. Paramparagatam Brahma Vidyam. And this is that one after the other. Brahma, Atharva, and then Angira, Bharadwaja, and Angiras. So I read Paravaram to mean synonymous to be with Parampara, one after the other. Avara can also mean the next. Para and the next. Avara and next. So Paravaram. Some people do say, as Shantaji pointed out, that it could be that which is second to only the supreme reality itself. Para Avaram. Would anybody like to read the translation? Let's see. I mean, the commentary. We have Vindhu here. Would you like to speak up? Okay. Sri Lakshmi, are you? All right. So, Shantaji, would you like to read the commentary?
Then here, the knowledge of the Brahman, which Brahma taught to Asarava, the same knowledge thus acquired from Brahma. Atharva in ancient days taught the one named Angi, and this Angi taught it to one named Satyavaha of the line of the Bharadwaja. And Bharadwaja taught it to Angiras, his disciple or his son. Paravaram, because it was acquired from superior to inferior sages, or because it permeates the subject of all the knowledge, great and small. The term praha, i.e. taught, should be read. Your thing is blocking into the last clause.
Okay, so Shankaracharya opines that this is actually, his name was not Bharadwaja, but his name was Satyavaha of the Bharadwaja clan. So he interprets that way. I mean, it's not really making much difference to the meaning. There's some other person who got this knowledge, and then Bharadwajaha Angirase Paravaram Praha. Now he says Paravara is because it has. Yes.
Sorry, it does say Bharadwajaya.
Hmm.
It's like Ramaya, isn't it? Bharadwajaya.
Correct.
So of the Bharadwaja, Satyavaha. So it's right, Bharadwaja clan, isn't it?
It could be so, because Satyavaha also is in the Aya, the Chaturthi Vibhakti. So, which of them is the adjective to which is a question?
Yeah.
Because there is already a Rishi by name Bharadwaja himself. So, I read it that way. But yes, if there is a Rishi.
Bharadwaja.
Correct, yes.
भारद्वाजाय सत्यवहाय इति सत्यवाहाय इति स्यात्.
Hmm.
That is the name of the Rishi who is in that Bharadwaja Gotra.
Hmm. But then the next word says Bharadwajaha Angirase Praha, right?
Uh,
Bec- eh, eh, Anyhow, it doesn't really matter. This is just tracing the lineage. Let's now move ahead quickly.
we'll do Namaskara to all these Rishis and we'll go ahead.
We'll go ahead. Correct. शौनको ह वै महाशालोऽङ्गिरसं विधिवदुपसन्नः पप्रच्छ कस्मिन्नु भगवो विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवतीति सन्धिच्छेदम्
शौनकः वै महाशालः अङ्गिरसं विधि विधिवत् उपसन्नः पप्रच्छ कस्मिन् नु भगवः विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञाति सर्वं सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवति इति.
So what can we glean the meaning to be?
Shaunaka Maharshi is asking Angirasa Maharshi, he's asking that by knowing what everything is known.
Correct. So this is in quotations. Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti papracha. So now Angirasa has the stronghold over the Brahma Vidya, and now Shaunaka is a Mahashala. In many of the texts, this Mahashala is translated to mean a great householder because Shala used to be used for a householder. So the great householder Shaunaka, it could also have just been the Maharshi Shaunaka who comes in the Puranas. But any which way, so Shaunaka is a person who is a really great virtuous man who comes to Angiras and Vidhivad Upasannaha. He comes and sits. Again, this relates to Upanishad. Upasannaha Vidhivat. He comes, does all the vidhis of Upachara to the Guru, which is Angiras here, and then he papracha, he asked, Hey Bhagavaha, O great man, Kasmin nu vijñate sarvamidam vijñatam bhavati. He asks a very peculiar question. By knowing or experiencing which, and here again, as we said in the beginning itself, that the word wherever jnana comes here is not to be taken to be literally just collecting information, but to experience. So, experiencing what? Or understanding what wisdom will everything be known? Will everything have been experienced? Because we can look at this Maharshala Shaunaka to have already been through the rights of life, the ups and downs, and the very many uh, tricks and trickeries of life. So, having gone through all those phases, he now just wants to know how much more is going to come his way. And so, he wants to take a shortcut perhaps and say, knowing one experience, what is that one experience or one thing, even if there's such a thing, knowing that everything else and the wisdom of all lives, time, space, and causation would be known. He doesn't ask for peace or shanti in his life. He just wants this bugging question of his to get answered. Is there such a thing? Is there even such a possibility where operating on one person, I would have operated on all 8 billion humans? Understanding one single thing, is there such a thing? And is there such a way to know that thing that everything else becomes immediately known? What do you guys think of this question? Is this how you read it? Or is this a valid question actually? Or what are your own questions that if you were in place of
The Nu,
Shaunaka, you would have asked?
the Nu is doing the heavy lifting. Kasmin Nu, truly, really,
Yes.
if there is such a thing, which will, by knowing which everything is known.
Hmm. But is this a valid question to ponder about? Because the rest of the Upanishad is all about this. So if it is not a valid question, I mean, it is all time for us to drop out of the call. Um, is this actually a valid question then? Would this be something a person would ask? Or if it were, then what kind of a person would have asked such a question? What can you infer about the background of this Shaunaka?
This reminds me of Valmiki Ramayana. Um, there, Valmiki asked Narada, you're the Muni Pungava, and then is there a person who is having all these qualities? And the Narada says, yes, there is one person called Rama from the Dasharatha clan
Hmm.
or Raghuvamsha. And then that's how Ramayana is dictated. Am I right?
Satyam, yes. Interesting.
So they can ask a question. So I could come to you, and if I wanted to know about a subject, then I'll say, these are all the things I want to know. Is there a good teacher you know about?
Hmm.
Or
Oh, interesting.
there's always a possibility.
Right. Well taken. Point well taken. Anything else you guys want to add? Okay. So that is the question. Because he's really, I read it this way that he's actually really tired of life and he doesn't want to experience the small, limited things again and again or in small, different ways. He wants to know the mechanism of this amusement park of life. He wants to know how, I mean, without even having to take every single ride in the park, what is the mechanism, what is the underlying governing physics of it? So that if I know it, even if I were to be put on any other slide, on any other water ride, I will know how to either manage myself there or I will know what is actually happening to me. I won't be ignorant of what is happening to me and nothing will be a surprise anymore. So this is what I think. So he goes there.
It's also like
Hmm.
going to a stage show.
Hmm.
People just go there to see the drama, but if you really know what happens behind the stage,
Yes.
it's more knowledge. The purpose of going there is to learn a lot more than
Hmm.
just watching some people saying their dialogues out and coming, oh yeah, I enjoyed it. But if you know what happens behind the scene, sweat, blood, and tears, which has been put to create the drama, that is more interesting than just knowing a little bit of the knowledge of anything. So this is the highest knowledge, I think.
Wonderful. That's a very good analogy. That if a person were to actually know the drama, the episode or a serial in and out, one has to definitely look at the bloopers, the behind the scenes, the actual script they got, the history of it, and so on. That's wonderful. Okay. Arya, would you like to read?
Okay.
This is a very big commentary, though.
Yeah. Commentary. Saunaka, the male issue of Sunaka. Mahasala means the great householder. Angiras, that is the disciple of Bharadwaja and his own preceptor. Vidhivat means duly, that is according to the Shastras. Upasana means having approached. Prapacha means questioned from approaching duly. Mentioned just after the connection between the Shaunaka and Angiras, it should be inferred that in respect, I think it should be respect or respect of the manner of approaching. There was no established rule amongst the ancients before him. The attribute duly might have been intended either to fix a limit or to apply to all alike, on the analogy of a lamp placed amidst the house. For the rule about the manner of approaching is intended in the case of persons like us also. What did he say? What is that? Oh, Bhagwan, etc. The particle nu expresses doubt. Bhagavo means Bhagavan. All this means everything knowable. Vijnana means especially known or understood. O Bhagavan, what is that which is being known? Everything knowable becomes well known. Shaunaka, having heard the saying of good men that when one is known, he becomes a knower of all, and being desirous of knowing that one in particular, asked in doubt, what is that, etc., or having seen merely from a popular view, questioned. There are in the world varieties of pieces of gold, etc., which though different are known are known by people in the world by the knowledge of the unity of the substance, gold, etc. Similarly, is there one cause of all the varieties in the world, which cause being known, all will be well known. It may be said that when the existence of the thing is not known, the question is, what is that, etc., is not appropriate, and the question in the form, is there, etc., would then be appropriate. If the existence is established, the question may well be, what is that, etc., as an expression, which whom shall it be deposited? The objection is unsound. The question in this form is appropriate from the fear of troubling verbosity.
Okay, so
this is too complicated.
Yeah,
Too complicated an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of such commentaries is to put up all the different questions, being semantic or philosophy wise, and this is how actual philosophy in India used to be written, where even small objections that one may raise in the future, or which one may have already raised about a certain mantra, is being addressed. For us, I would say, at least for people like me who are laymen, it's not really that relevant because what he's talking about here, let me quickly summarize and say that it is, why is this the exact question? Why not that tell me about this, tell me about that, and hence, just start enumerating every single question. So the idea is he's asking what is knowing that one thing, everything else becomes known. The objection, the Purva Paksha is asking, why could he have not just asked what is A, what is B, what is C, what is D, etc., like an encyclopedia? And perhaps if Angiras is knowledgeable enough because he has the Brahma Vidya, he would have answered all A, B, C, D, etc. So then to that objection, he's saying, first of all, that would be tedious. And secondly, one should first of all know about the existence of such a solution. Whether a solution to this problem exists or not itself is the first step. And second step is what those solutions are. So the existence of a solution is of first importance, of prior importance than the actual solution itself. Hence, he is justifying Shaunaka's question and saying that, is there such a thing by knowing which everything else can become known automatically? So this is the gist of the commentary. Did I get it right? Did I understand it well, Vikram?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yes.
Okay.
So he's basically asking a much profound question than going into details about different things. And we see this in other places as well, especially in Puranas, where rishis ask all kind of different things when they are talking to Shiva or Vishnu. Uh, there are so many examples of that. And they ask different kinds of questions like what is dharma, what is to be known, etc. But he is not asking all these questions. He is asking by knowing what? I don't need to know anything else because everything else is known.
Exactly.
So I would connect it to other literature.
Hmm. So he is not interested anymore in the details of all the knowable things or experienceable things. He is now, he has, I think, perhaps already gone through those phases of questioning already. Now, a more serious question which is bugging him is there, can there even be a solution, one solution to all these problems? Can there be such a, is there such an entity or is there such a possibility? Uh, exactly like how Trivikramaji pointed out, the nu here means is there even, so even Shankaracharya says it points out to be uh, expressing doubt of the very existence itself. This is very closely tied to how we ask in religion, right? The first thing we ask is there God? That is a fundamental question of religion. Why are we asking that question? Because by God, in different contexts, we mean, is there a possibility to be freed from this existence of suffering and pain? That is what you can translate either as God or something, moksha, etc. So, is there a higher possibility? Basically, it all boils down to that. And uh, in different translations in different contexts, that same very question of is there a way out, is there a solution, is what is being expressed. And here in particular of this context, he is looking to find the answers not as information but as experience to everything which can be known. Tasmin vijnate, knowing which everything else can become known by itself. तस्मै सहोवाच द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये इति हस्मयद्ब्रह्मविदो वदन्ति परा चैवापरा च. So now to this, Angiras replies. What does he reply, Mahodaya?
There are two things to be known. Vevidye veditavye. One is para, the other one's name is apara.
Hmm.
So para means something that is beyond. Apara means that is immediate, that is right here, that is
Hmm.
not beyond.
Hmm. Exactly. So Tasmai, to him, he then said, who is this he? Angiras replied. In fact, the word Angiras is also interesting. It is the word Angiras comes from a spark, or it is also sometimes used synonymously with intuition. You say a spark of intuition, right? Or something which just clicks, a eureka moment. So this intuition could have very well been personified by this Angiras Maharshi. Just as in the Chandipata, we saw that the Rishi's name there was Sumedhas, one who is of good intellect, who is speaking to Samadhi and Suratha. So here Angiras is speaking to Shaunaka. And Angiras, the intuition says there are two things which must be known or which can be known. Veditavye yat Brahma Vido Vadanti. This is what the Brahma Vidas have said. Those who know this already have told. So it's not just me proclaiming it, it has been uh, attested by several other Brahma Vidas before me. Paracha eva aparacha. There are two kinds, which are the para and the apara. Like he said, para means that which is beyond, and apara means that which is not beyond, as in that which is lesser. One which is transcendent and one which is material. Angiras said to Shaunaka, what did he say? He said that there are two sorts of knowledge to be known. So indeed, do those who know the import of the Vedas see the absolute truth? Say what these two sorts are. He says, Para is the knowledge of the Paramatma, Apara is the one which deals with the means and results of good and bad actions. Okay, he's already giving the answer. So he's spoiling it for us. Let's not read it then. Let's go ahead. At this point, do any of you have questions or inputs? Okay. Astu. Agre gacchama. We have 6 more minutes. तत्रापरा ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदः सामवेदोऽथर्ववेदः शिक्षाकल्पो व्याकरणं निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति अथ परा यया तदक्षरमधिगम्यते. महोदय.
आं महोदय।
कृपया सन्धिविभागं
तत्र
कृत्वा।
अपरा ऋग्वेदः, यजुर्वेदः, सामवेदः, अथर्ववेदः, शिक्षा, कल्पः, व्याकरणं, निरुक्तं, छन्दः, ज्योतिषम् इति अथ परा यया तदक्षरमधिगम्यते, तद् अक्षरम् अधिगम्यते।
So what is he saying?
And there are two aparartha, ऋग्यजु साम अथर्ववेद, शिक्षा, kalpa, vyakarana, nirukta, chandas, jyotisha. All the Shadangas as well as the Chaturvedas.
Hmm. And then para is that by which aksharam adhigamyate. So he makes a very, I would say, a drastic claim by segregating all the Vedas and Vedanga into the category of that which is material knowledge, apara, or lesser knowledge, and the actual knowledge by which you will understand the akshara, the indestructible. The indestructible is called the Paravidya. So, in fact, by saying so, he has essentially said, though one may understand all of the things about Brahman, Akshara, and Vedanta, etc., from the Aparavidya, which is through the Vedas, Vedanga, or any other scripture in general, the actual knowledge will only come when it comes, is actually the one which is very different from the Aparavidya. Because the apara vidya is the limit to which we can stretch our intellect and mind to grasp it. But that particular path by which the akshara, the Brahman, becomes known is transcendental. It's something beyond. It cannot be quantified. It can't be expounded upon. So, atha means then, para is the knowledge through which that aksharam adhigamyate. So, if you remember back connect it back to the question that he asked, Kasminnu bhagavo vijñate sarvamidam vijñatam bhavati. He asked a question about, is there such a thing by knowing which everything else becomes known? And Angiras apparently talks about something else. He just says there are two things to be known, two vidyas, two kinds of vidyas, which is the apara and the para. But then the answer comes here where that tad aksharam adhigamyate. So he's saying the para vidya through which the akshara is understood is perhaps the one is the solution that you're looking for. It is that one thing. By knowing this, everything else can become known. As we shall see through the rest of the Upanishad, uh, he talks about this Aksharam and this Paravidya in pointing terms. But one must again remember that I mean, the Veda and the Upanishads are so modest that they don't shy away from including themselves also to be a part of the Aparavidya. So even after the end of this Upanishad, though the Rishi may have spoken at length about all of this Paravidya and Akshara, he still has the humility to say, no, no, actually this is all still Apara Vidya only, because it is still dealing, the listener is still using the intellect and the mind to try to decipher and come to a conceptual understanding of it. And not only the Vedas, not only subject matter, but the other tools of understanding the subject matter. In those days, it were the Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chanda, Jyotisha, which are called the Shad Vedangas. That is the means or tools, the toolkit that you will need to understand the meanings of the Vedas and their content. So, neither with the tools nor with the actual text and content itself will the Akshara be known, because that happens through a different Vidya called as the Para Vidya. Are you all with me so far? Do you have any other take about these verses?
Beautiful.
Hmm. Yes, Shantaji.
Yeah, it's not about the verses. I was just contemplating on the word Mundaka,
Hmm.
the bald. The hair is one of the assets for a human being or even an animal for it to look beautiful, and especially for male sort of things. And as you start aging, that beauty and that hair is going to sort of give you an ego. If you compare yourself with your younger photos and the present ones of life, and your hair has started receding and you started going bald naturally, and so the ego with that hair just goes away when you take the hair out. It was it to make Mundana was done? Was it to make the people look a little bit ugly, or was it how did this Mundana came into practice? So, like if you go to foreign countries like even Burma, they have got a ritual. So doing this Mundana before the Diksha.
Hmm.
It is like when you do the Munji,
Yes,
you take a part of your hair away
correct.
as a was that the reason? To take your ego away or your looks away, partly. And it was the same for satis also when they used to lose their husbands. They used to do mundana for ladies.
Hmm.
Was it to make them look ugly or take their ego away? I'm just interested as to how you would interpret maybe in the next class or
Correct. It's a very interesting can of worms, I would say, that you have opened. Really, really pricking questions, actually. And that is also somehow related to the when they go to this Tirupati, they give their hair away, right? So that is, in a way, stripping oneself of the beauty, you can say. That is actually exactly true. I would agree with you on this point that stripping the hair away,
few people.
yes,
But quite a few people do look very beautiful even when they have their mundana done.
correct.
That is the natural beauty. But it's just the interpretation. How did the mundana come about? And why, particularly in Munji, that some
Hmm.
you do the heart mundana, there's a little bit of symbolic nowadays.
Hmm.
They cut a bit of the portion of the forehead hair,
Yes.
shave it.
It's a very valid question. Does anybody else want to answer it or give your own inputs about it?
I have heard that it's the name of the Rishi.
The Munda? Okay.
Mundaka is the name of the Rishi.
Okay. Okay, that is also one possibility. Anybody else?
And also in Kannada, you say, oh, munda mochkotu,
Hmm.
So when you lose everything,
Hmm.
your assets, munda mochkotu.
Correct.
I don't know if you've heard that
Yes,
expression.
I have, I have. I would say, I mean, this is a very interesting thing that you just said, that as we age, we tend to naturally lose our hair as a sign of maturity and losing our looks. I support that interpretation to the extent by saying that the ego or whatever false paraphernalia we have gathered through our lives, in our lives, that is getting stripped little by little, and we will ultimately end up being barred by the end of the Upanishad, where every single thing that we think is good and that we have kept to beautify our lives gets ultimately stripped away. So, yes, I think it's a beautiful interpretation that we will become more mature, and if it means losing a little bit of hair, then so be it. Mm. We are all here to be mature, yes.
Moreover, I think the one person, it's the name of Shiva,
Mm.
right? Yukta Keshaya, Avyukta Keshaya.
Vyuktakesha Satyam. Yes, in the Rudradhyaya, the Namaka, it says Vyuktakesha, correct. One whose Kesha have been pulled out, yes, or shaved. Keshaya Namaha. Yes, this could be Mundaka only. Yes. Okay, so then we'll stop here. We will do a quick 5 minute meditation where we'll just turn our videos and audios off, sit in silence for 5 minutes, going through the meanings that we have discussed so far. Right from the first verse, where Brahma comes and creates the world, he protects it, and then he starts giving the Brahma Vidya to a lineage of rishis. A 5 minute meditation starting from now. Astu, let's stop here. We will continue the discussions in tomorrow's class. धन्यवादः. नमस्ते.